Which word of the day? Today's word is a phrase, Invoke Duplicity. In Dungeons & Dragons, Invoke Duplicity is a power granted to clerics in the trickery domain, which specializes in magic of illusion and deceit. They could create perfect illusory doubles of themselves. This illusion could be used as a conduit for spells cast by the cleric. The image of two identical images was disconcerting enough that hitting an enemy with a physical attack was made easier.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published material in the Charmed universe and decide how it fits into the grand narrative of the TV series. Okay, so this is episode 25. We're doing another book, and we're back from vacation. We had like a little break with bonus episodes and stuff. And Brittany is back. Hello!
Hello, I'm back. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I'm so grateful because we had another person scheduled for this book, and it just wasn't working out with the schedule, and it is kind of some rough stuff was going on. So you came in at the last minute and saved the day, and I'm very excited to talk to you.
Well, like I said, I am more than happy to come back anytime. I enjoy it a lot. I have so much fun. If I could get my book straight, that would be even better, but it's okay.
Tell the story of what happened with the book.
So obviously I came in pretty late into the game to read the book, and I guess the titles of the book kind of confused me because instead of reading our current book that is supposed to be A Tale of Two Pipers, my dumb butt read Pied Piper because I guess I was just really in the Piper mood, and that's where I went. So I ended up reading two books since 8 o'clock last night, and it's fine. It is fine. We are okay. I'm here. I know the story. We're okay.
Yeah. But yeah, you are definitely a trooper, and it's so great. So now when we get to that episode, you're like, I know that book. I read that book.
Yes, but I really feel like maybe it was the cosmic universe telling me, okay, you have to do this in order to relate to what's going on in this actual book, which is being so overwhelmed with things and being scatterbrained and having so many things to do. So I really feel like that just helps me relate to this book even more.
Oh, good. Yeah, because you just went the whole moving thing and lots of stress. And
yeah, it's fine. I know that most of us is going through a lot of stuff, and don't worry, guys. Piper's in the trenches with us. So
yes, and Piper's your favorite, so I think it's appropriate, that you're back for a Piper book.
Oh, yes. I'm so excited to talk about it. But anytime you need me, Kevin, I'm here.
All right, well, let's get started with this book.
All right.
This is A Tale of Two Pipers, and it is book 24. It says it takes place before Which Way Now, so it's still like the end of season 4 before she finds out she's pregnant.
Okay. Yeah,
that's the key. It's hard, this one's hard to place because there aren't really any like key points that really tell you where we are. But we know she's not pregnant, and we know she doesn't have a kid. So
right. Yeah, she's married to Leo, so we know that's a thing.
Right?
At least we can place her in that.
Exactly. We'll figure it out. This is written by Emma Harrison, and she wrote Garden of Evil and Something Wiccan This Way Comes, and the short story Yule in Seasons of the Witch before this. This was published May 4th, 2004, and then reprinted June 6th, 2004. Well, let's describe the cover a little bit. A Tale of Two Pipers. Piper in the front, obviously, since it's about Piper, if you didn't know. Yeah. And then we have Phoebe and Paige on each side, and then behind her, a lighter duplicate Piper. And these are season 5 promo pictures. So we have a season 5 promo, but doesn't take place in season 5.
Right.
And then we have like spotlights.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a strobe effect in the background.
Yeah, it looks like the little fog and strobes, and it's a bluish gray color.
Which, as covers go, I mean, I know that we had talked before about just looking at these covers, and the more you look at it, the more you discover. This one's kind of a more simplified cover for the past few books.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Like, what you see is what you see. There's no secret little subliminal messages in there.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty easy to kind of get the gist of what's going on.
Yeah. It has a tagline, it's called The Power of Three for a reason.
Yeah. Sassy.
It's got some attitude in that tagline, yeah. Back of the book says, while Darklighter is threatening to steal true love, magic made a wish go wrong. Where two are, once was one, but two does not mean twice as strong. Too much work and no time for play have made Piper a major stress case. When a seemingly harmless wish comes true, creating two Pipers, it looks like the problem solved. Two Pipers can do twice as much work, leaving one Piper to party the night away and the other to finally have time to relax. I wish everybody would stop telling me to relax.
Yeah.
While one Piper is home baking, the other Piper can give an interview. Two Pipers, two perfect.
I love that line.
But soon it becomes clear that two heads and bodies aren't always better than one. When Darklighters kidnap Leo and hold him hostage in exchange for the Charmed One's powers, one of the Pipers doesn't even seem to care. And then both Pipers' powers fade, leaving them useless and sick. Phoebe and Paige scramble to find a reversal spell, but without Leo's help and with Piper split in two, will the power of three become powerless? So did you want to start chapter 1?
Book opening. We have Piper, who is overwhelmed with the endless responsibilities and errands and she envies her sisters because they have carefree attitudes. They can just la-ti-da all day. Piper's got too many responsibilities. And Paige has kind of roped her sisters into a charity fundraiser for kids. And she's asked, Piper to bake. And so that's just adding even more stress onto Piper. Leo tells the girls that he has a lot of things up there, some meetings that he'll be attending, and won't be able to orb unless it's a dire emergency. And they also have painters that are coming that are unannounced. They were supposed to come here 2 weeks ago, but they decided to show up randomly to paint the kitchen, and they make a mess of Piper's papers, and they spill herbs all over these wish charms, which was part of what Phoebe contributed to this kid's fundraiser for Paige. And she specifically left out a few ingredients of these wish charms because she didn't want there to be as big of an impact. Like, maybe this will just be a good luck charm for these kids. So they're just sitting out on the counter, and herbs spill into it, and Piper is frustrated because she's going to have to clean these up, and she feels so bad because Phoebe took time to make these. And so she freezes the room, and she takes a moment to kind of just woo-saw it out because she's so beyond her boiling point. And she wishes that there was two of her because she has so much stuff to get done and not enough time to do it. So Piper leaves. Oh, and I think that we need to backtrack a little bit because Paige and Phoebe are going shopping because Paige needs a dress for
the event, I think.
The event? So she needs a dress.
Yeah.
Long story short, they're going to the mall. Piper can't go, so she's all pissy.
Yeah, they invited her. She's like, no, are you kidding me? I can't do that.
Yeah, I've got too much ish to do, guys, and you're not helping. So Piper then leaves after wishing that there was two of her, and she instructs the painters because they come in with this blue color, and Piper flips out. Not blue. She wants it sand. I specifically ordered sand, and that is what I'm going to get. So she dumps the blue down the sink, by the way, which is horrible. I thought about this, and I was like, that's going to mess up your drainage, number one. And I was like, okay, Piper, you do you. But she dumps the blue down the sink and leaves. And it jumps to Leo being up there, which I thought was really interesting in this book, that we were able to kind of go into Leo's perspective on things.
It was really interesting. Yeah.
And I kind of wish that they did more of this. And I know that we jumped to Leo having a meeting with one or two elders, and maybe the girls ordered up there a couple times, but it wasn't this kind of a setting, which, I was really excited about getting this perspective. But we see Leo in this White Liner meeting, and the senior elder, Mariah, was explaining a new elder position that was going to be voted on for them to add.
vote on who will be taking its place, and yeah.
Right. And during this meeting, they get word that Darklighters are assembling. And immediately, Leo just starts thinking about Paige. He's like, crap, are they coming after Paige? Because she's half White Lighter, so they're going to target her. So he starts going into a full-blown panic.
Yeah. So, chapter 2, Leo, he's still freaking out about Paige, so he goes to his mentor, Shia, because there's like all these, there's like this whole elder like hierarchy of like these are the superiors, and Shia is one of them, and he works really closely with Mariah, and he asks for permission to go and warn Paige, and he's like, why would you like to? Why do you need to warn Paige? Okay. I would talk about this later, but he's like, because she's half White Lighter. He's like, oh yeah, that's a good reason. Okay. So after a moment, Shia and Mariah, they agree. They're like, okay, we're gonna send this other White Lighter. She's a newbie White Lighter. She's a novice, but we're gonna send her. Her name is Laura, and we're gonna send her to warn the sisters, not you. And there's like, why can't I go? It's like, we need you here, And yeah, so Leo is unsatisfied that he can't go himself, and he's like, I guess I'll have to do what you say. La-di-da-di-da. And now it cuts to Piper at P3, and these men were like disassembling her VIP lounge, and she's like, what the hell are you doing? It's like, this is my spot. This is where I go. I need this. And she is confronted by the boss of whoever's doing this, because she is going to be doing like a fashion show there. This guy Ronaldo is like this well-renowned fashion show, and they arranged that he would like have the show at the P3 because it would bring a lot of people to the club and get some money in and stuff. So Douglas was the boss, and he was Ronaldo's business manager, and Ronaldo is the high-profile fashion designer. He's going to debut his new line. And she's like, Douglas was kind of a snob, so she's like, I don't really like him. And she's like, you're definitely not gonna mess with my VIP lounge. They had a little fight for a while. But Ronaldo and his posse, because then Ronaldo comes, he's like, yeah, we have to do this because this is how we always do it. Suck it up, who cares? And they're like dead set on blowing out the walls and like replacing the floors, and
which to me was crazy. Like, I know that
crazy.
I know that like places, when you set up a venue, like they obviously construct things in order to make it, more interesting and fit for whatever you're doing. But the fact that they wanted to like break down walls and replace flooring, I have never heard of such a thing.
It is insane. Like, you don't remodel a place you're gonna only spend like a night in. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not your say. It pissed me off. I was mad at these people.
Yeah, pick a different venue. If you have such issues, then why did you pick this venue then?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, and so Piper was pissed. I'm like, yes, you better be pissed. I'm pissed for you. And she told him, she's like, well, maybe you need to find a new venue. And I'm like, yes, storm off there. But then, as she's storming off, what was the chick's name?
Marsha.
Okay. This chick, Marsha, she's another one of Ronaldo's posse people. And she's like, would you like to agree to compromise? I was like, he really wants to be here. And she's like, fine, maybe we can change the floors out because I need new floors anyway.
Is Piper footing the bill for these floors? Because I would be like, hell no, unless you're going to pay for these floors, they're staying. Because why would she? I mean, I know that they need to be replaced, right? But that doesn't mean she needs to do it this minute.
Exactly. And I think she is paying for it, because remember the other chapter where they ask her which one she wants to choose. Yeah. Yep. So Piper is totally paying for it.
Oh, nope. That would be a big hell no for me.
Yeah, but she still leaves feeling good that she stood her ground. I'm like, did you really though?
Girl,
you should just kick them out. I'm sorry, you should just kick them out and never deal with them again.
There's no telling how much thousands of dollars that she stood her ground though. But she just spent thousands of dollars. It's fine.
Right. So then it cuts to Phoebe and Paige, and they're shopping. They're doing their clothes shopping. They're having a good time. Phoebe basks in the glow. She's looking at herself in the mirror. She's really feeling herself. She's like, I look really sexy in this red dress. This is gonna look amazing on me. And then Piper arrives at the store, and she catches Phoebe in the red dress, and they're like, oh no, she's gonna make me put it back. She's gonna freak out. She's gonna be mad that we're shopping and not helping her. And then they're surprised because Piper's like, oh, that looks really good. Can I try it on? And they're like, what?
In that, they do say that, she was shocked because Piper wasn't exactly one for showing off the goods. And I feel like that's pretty consistent with her character. So I was happy that they kind of continued that, especially if you compare her to the other sisters throughout all the seasons. She's more of the conservative one.
For sure. And so, yeah, it is nice that they're just like, this is not like her. This is crazy. So then the three of them just spend a good time. They spend an afternoon shopping together, having some girl time, having a really nice afternoon, indulging in their shopping spree. And then they return to the manor with all their purchases, and Piper is now wearing this leather jacket.
It's not black, though. That's what kills me. It's like a cream. It's a cream leather jacket. I would not peg one for Piper to wear anything but black.
Right. Maybe a dark brown.
Mm-hmm.
I can guess. Yeah, maybe a dark brown. But I think she wore one in Lost and Bound, like that dark brown jacket. Mm-hmm. Then they get home, and they open the door. And as they open the door, they see another Piper is inside with groceries. And then both Pipers are looking at each other. They're confused by each other's presence. And they look at each other like, okay, well, she's a warlock. You better get her. They're both going,
I'm gonna blow up!
And Phoebe and Paige are just completely baffled. And Phoebe's like looking at the rings like, they both even have the same wedding ring. How could this be? Oh my gosh. And that's kind of how that chapter ends.
Yeah, which I thought that was a very interesting kind of setup for this. They're saying, with Piper's jacket, they're already saying like, well, this isn't Piper at all. Like, she would never buy this, but she's just being carefree. And then you have Piper, which is a total standard of, kind of her character, just walking in with an armload of groceries without any help. This poor girl. All right. So chapter 3, we're still going in between the two Pipers calling each other warlocks and trying to fight each other. Phoebe and Paige stop the Pipers. They can't harm each other. So Phoebe calls Piper from inside the manor, the one... She came in with the groceries. She was Piper 1, and the one with the leather jacket is Piper 2. Phoebe remembers when Prue split into 3, and they begin to question the Pipers, which I like how many throwbacks that they give in this book to Prue.
Yeah.
I definitely went through and flagged those, because I thought that they were special.
Especially in this situation, it is very similar to
the
Cruiser anyway,
Whenever Phoebe is questioning the Pipers, they're asking like only things that a Piper would know, right? So the questions that they come up with are really cute, and I think that some of them are really funny. So one of them was like, Phoebe asks, okay, what was the name of the boyfriend you claim I stole from you in middle school? And both the Pipers, anytime any of these questions, are answering at the same exact time. And it's making both of them really mad. And it compares them to a pair of twin lionesses when they're looking at each other. And I thought that comparison was just like so spot on for a Piper character.
They just that stare. She stares you down, and you know exactly what she's feeling. Mm-hmm. It's perfect. Yeah.
So then Piper 1 tries to freeze Piper 2, and she doesn't freeze. And Paige goes, she's immune to our powers. That means she's a good witch, which I flagged that because that's not necessarily true. There are many times where other things don't freeze, whether it's because they have a protection charm on them or whatever. So I was like, okay, you are jumping to conclusions. You have not learned from your past. And that made me very upset.
That is true. Because, while, good witches don't freeze, there could be all other kinds of explanations. Don't just condone it right away. You need to make sure. Yeah.
After that, they kind of just accept the fact that it's Piper's clone. Because they start talking about Phoebe's charms getting messed up. And then Piper remembers the Pipers remember their wish. It's going to get confusing in this book. Phoebe confirms that with the added ingredients, the charms became very powerful. And, in that moment, Piper wished that there was 2 of her and she was granted her wish.
There you go.
And so they try taking those same charms and make a wish that it were to reverse, that she was 1 again. And it doesn't work. So then they hear a scream on the doorstep, which is so unsettling. They go and check out what it is, and it's a woman who is just shot by a Darklighter arrow. And the Darklighter is still there, and he's standing over her, and he gives them a little smirk. And then, like, Piper tries to blow him up, but he kind of, like, evaporates, you know, his Darklighter.
I call it blorbing.
Blorbing, okay.
Black orbing.
Gotcha.
But I call it blorbing because that's more fun.
Gotcha. Okay, so he blorbs away. And the woman, who is the white lighter that the elders sent down because they weren't letting Leo go, which her name was Lauren.
Yeah.
Yes. It's her. So she got shot by the Darklighter, and she warns them of the Darklighters coming for them, and she then dies. And the two Pipers chat and make a plan to take advantage of their situation and then get things done while the girls are upstairs researching, number one, what's going on as far as the two Pipers and how to reverse it. Number two, looking into kind of like the Darklighter situation. So that's where we end on chapter 3, is Piper taking advantage of two of herself.
Yeah, she's like, well, I guess if you're here, might as well get some use out of it.
Yeah, might as well take advantage.
Yeah. We're friends now, so it's good. Yeah.
I won't try to blow you up again. It's fine.
So chapter 4, Piper 1 was at home, making sure the painters were doing their job right. She's just watching them. She's like, It's like...
That little scene in my head was just so funny. Just Piper just sitting there like, don't worry, I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm gonna watch every move that you make.
Exactly. The guy's like, it's like, you're really gonna be there all day? She's like, yep.
Don't worry.
It's pretty funny. It's like, that's what you get for being late and for getting the wrong color and for being jerks to me. So
now you have to be micromanaged, and it's fine.
Yeah. Piper 2 calls Piper 1 from a restaurant interview. So she's on an interview because she was nominated for Businesswoman of the Year.
Go
and
Piper.
So yes. Oh, yes. So now they're like kind of interviewing people and narrowing it down to see who's going to get it. And so, So Piper 2 is on the interview now. And she's like, yeah, here's what's happening. Piper 1 agrees to keep an eye on the Darklighter situation. And then she fills Piper 2 in on what happened with Douglas and Ronaldo at P3. Okay, so... All right, so wait. Oh, Piper 2. Okay, yep. So Piper 2 was the one at P3, and she tells Piper 1 about it.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah, it's going to get confusing.
Yeah. I was like, which Piper am I talking about now? Yeah. So yeah. So now they both are on the same page about what's going on with their life. At the interview, Gina is the reporter. She's there, and she is very impressed by Piper 2 because Piper 2 is saying all the right things. She's very confident, and Piper 2 is actually kind of surprised by how confident she is. She's like, oh, all right.
No, I really like this.
Yeah. And then they leave, and Gina's like, oh yeah, she'll hear from me later. Let's hang out sometime. Piper 1 was in the kitchen baking cupcakes and muffins after the painters cleared out. And she's just living her best life. She's like, I love this. I'm making all the things that are my favorite. These Leos should come down and try my muffins.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I know. She does. Yeah, I know. It's the euphemisms. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
She did try call for Leo. She's like, I made his favorite stuff. You sure you don't want to come by? And no show, no response. She's like, well, I guess he did say he was busy. Fine. And then the two Pipers talk on the phone to each other again.
Piper 1 has the home phone, and then Piper 2 has the cell phone.
Okay, good. Because I was computing this. I'm like, if they both had a duplicate cell phone,
that would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, you think about it's bad, 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 bad world where both the Paige answer the phone and hello.
Yeah. Yeah, but they did live in two different worlds, so I can imagine that would be a reason why they would each have a phone, but they had to share things.
Yes, of course. If they were in the same world, it would be hard because they would dial the phone number, but then they would call themselves. It would be very confusing. So I'm glad they didn't go there because
right. Wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, no. Okay, they're talking on the phone again, just as Douglas came up to Piper 2. Okay, yeah, so the two Pipers are talking. Douglas comes to Piper 2, and Piper 2 is like, ooh, Douglas is hot. Piper 1 was like, ew!
He's like, what?
It's like, ew, how could you think he's hot? Well, how you're not me at all. You're weird. So yeah, Piper 1 was disgusted to learn that Piper 2 thought Douglas was hot. Douglas showed Piper two floor options, and he condescendingly figured, like, you're probably going to pick the cheaper one because that's what you do. You're not cool. And then Piper 2 was offended. She's like, how dare you think that I would pick the cheaper one just because it's cheap? It's like, if you said this is the best one, I'm going to go with the best one. And then Douglas was like, yeah. And then Douglas was like, oh, okay, I guess you're not who I thought you were. Then, okay. And then he gets kind of flirty and he asks Piper to dinner. And Piper 2's like, I'm married, but okay.
Yeah, he's like, it's just a business dinner.
Just a business dinner.
Sure, yeah, I'm sure. Just ignore that ring, why don't you?
And Piper's 2, it's like, it's fine, it's harmless, whatever. I'll have fun.
I'm not gonna do anything.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go into chapter 5. Paige and Phoebe, they're up in the attic studying, trying to figure out how to reverse Piper's wish, and they are starving. They've been up there for hours. These poor girls. Piper's just downstairs living her best life, but also at the club handling things. So they smell Piper's muffins from the attic and they become really hungry. So Phoebe goes down and she just sees Piper 1 lounging in front of the TV. And she's so angry about it. Which I thought was so funny. Because she's just like, we're upstairs doing all this work and Piper's just lounging around. Girl, how many times has Piper just been the one doing all this crap? And y'all just went shopping and she couldn't go. And you are pissy about the fact that she's in front of the TV for like maybe 20 minutes.
Right. I'm like, come on now. You gotta show a little bit of a give, Phoebe. A little bit of sympathy here.
I thought it was so sad because she says, I know, I'm vegging out right now. But do you know how long it's been since I've had time to watch TV? Like this poor girl. So Phoebe's kind of like getting over it, but she's still a little salty. Phoebe's worried about personal gain because Piper 1 tells her that Piper 2 left the manor and is currently doing some stuff that Piper needs to get done. And she's like, well, you're the one who preaches about personal gain all the time, but now you're utilizing your second person to do all these things. And so she's worried about personal gain, kind of guilting Piper into, being more conscious of that. And they're also worried about the Darklighter thread. So Piper 1 she's fine with what's going on. She's living her best life, getting things done, being able to relax, taking time for herself. And she's like, everything's going to be fine. Don't worry. It cuts to Piper 2, who's the one that went off with Douglas, and they're driving around. And they arrive at a kind of dark and mysterious location. And Piper 2's like, hell no. I've been in too many freaking alleyways with demons for this to be okay. So she's on alert, and she's very cautious. And then Douglas says that they're going to this new club called Bubble, which, okay. I got to talk about Bubble for a second because...
Oh, yes.
To me, Bubble is the most dumbest name for a club. But then the atmosphere, which Piper apparently is really impressed by it. But they've got... Let me find the description of this because we've got... Okay, so there were shimmering bubbles everywhere, shooting out from the walls, up from the vents in the floor, cascading down from the ceiling. The owner must have spent a very good fortune on bubble machines, not to mention gallons of bubble formula. And then it says that the club was gyrating around, dancing on a rotating floor, and bubbles popped against Piper's face, and it tickled her skin, and it made her giggle. Multicolored discs decorated the black walls and hung from the ceiling on invisible strings. A waitress on roller skates slid by, and she balanced a silver tray of bubbling blue soda bottles. Try saying that 12 times fast. Each supporting a different colored straw. Piper could have sworn her dress was made out of bubble wrap. What is this? Honest to God, this description just reminded me of like a 5-year-old's birthday party.
Yeah.
Like with bubbles everywhere, bubble wrap. Like it just, Piper was so impressed by it. I was like, girl, we have to up your standards a little bit. Because if I walked into this place,
I'm like,
no.
this has to be a joke. Yeah. I'm like,
There's
this
no
is like
way.
the start of a Friends episode. Like, this is this is sitcom material.
Right. But she was so impressed by it. And she was just having the time of her life.
I love it.
So they met up with Ronaldo, who's the designer, and he toasted to Piper with his posse. And Piper was like, oh my God. She kind of knew that it was fake to me.
Yeah.
She knew it was fake, but she was like, this kind of feels great. Like, I'm part of the it crowd, you know? Yeah. And after a little bit of, coaxing, Piper then began to let loose and have fun. And she went on the dance floor and she started dancing. She was getting down.
These 2 model girls were asking, come dance with us, come dance with us. So she's like, it's like a girl dance party over here.
Just imagine Piper in her little 5'4" little stance with these models who are probably 6 feet, just dancing around her little short butt.
We're the cool kids.
Yeah. I'm a model too, guys. I'm a model too. It's so cute. I don't know about you, but this bubble club was the most off-putting thing in this entire book, because it being San Francisco, I know that San Francisco is notorious for some little out of the box things, but I don't think this would be a hit club.
No, this would not be the hit place to be.
No, I'd much rather be at P3, to be honest.
Yeah.
Always.
It's it's so different. It's so out there. A fortune on bubble machine. That stuff is so cheap. Come on now.
Really, it's just somebody in the corner just blowing bubbles. That's how the owner saves on it.
Yeah, it's like I was like, oh, did you feel that light breeze? Oh.
Section 4 doesn't have very many bubbles, Todd. Oh, sorry. Let me just blow some that way. Jeez. Yeah. Crazy.
That would be the best job. Oh, you probably get dizzy and passed out by the end, but it's fine.
Oh, for
sure. Chapter 6. So Phoebe is eyeing up the spell, the multiplicity spell that Prue used, in which Prue is it anyway. I'm like, okay, take us back, yeah. And she realized that her copies were designed to disappear after their mission was fulfilled, but Piper's double doesn't do that. So does this Piper stay here forever? How do we get rid of this Piper?
We can only handle one Piper, y'all.
Oh yeah, it also says that some spell she was looking at, the wish charms, for them to reverse that, they have to have their full heart and soul into wishing it. They have to want, which I think is true for any magic. I mean, right. But they believe that Piper's heart wasn't fully into reversing the wish earlier, either one or both or whatever. And Gina, now the reporter lady from the interview, calls Piper 1, raving about their time together. And Piper 1 wasn't there, so she's like, oh,
okay.
And she's like, who? I was like, I impressed you, really? Well, go me. And they scheduled another hangout. It's like, I'd love to get together and you can show me all your favorite spots in the city or other restaurants that you were recommending to me. She's like, okay, yeah. But then she realizes that they scheduled a hangout at the same night as her fashion show. And Gina knows she has a fashion show. She's like, are you sure you can do that? She's like, yeah, I think I can get it covered because I got time now. Yeah, my little secret. Yeah. Oh. Now it cuts back to Leo, and Leo's meetings were lasting longer than they imagined. This is a lot. I'm like, I've got stuff to do. I gotta talk to my family. And this was weird to me too, because Charge's calls were blocked while they're in this great room.
But they're supposed to be the number one thing. So it's you have all of these white lighters together. Mm-hmm. What do you think gonna happen down on Earth with all these people, all of your charges? What if things happen?
Yeah.
Oh, it made me mad too.
I mean, I'm gonna talk about it at the end, but I'm just like, okay. Wow, you. That's where you go. Typical elders,
Yep.
Blocking calls from people who could use your help. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, I did want to jump back for a second because right before we cut to Leo, Piper still hasn't talked to Leo since, that morning. And so she's still trying to call him. And she's relaxing. She's laying in bed with a book. And she's like, oh, I should probably check on Leo. So she goes, Leo, I'm alone in the bedroom. Fully intending to like tempt him to come home, right?
That was true. That was true. Yeah.
Obviously he doesn't. So I just thought that was like a funny little quip that was in there.
That was true. Yeah.
That would happen, I'll just go back to reading my book.
Yeah. But after so after they were in their long meetings, they finally give them a break. So while they're on break, they can hear calls and stuff. So Leo's on break and he was going crazy, wondering if his warning that he wanted to give was actually delivered. He's like, I haven't heard anything. Nobody came to inform me of what was going on. And which is pretty rude because I feel like enough time has passed that he should be in the loop, but okay. Mm-hmm. And then he hears Piper's call and he begins to orbit her. He's like, oh, I hear Piper and I'm going to orbit her and see her. But then he stopped because the elders come. Shia and Mariah come. Like, no, Leo, wait. And like, we should tell you something. Lauren, that girl we sent, that white letter, she's dead now.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah. So there's like, so you know what? I guess this is dangerous. Or back to the girls, or back, warn the sisters, bring Paige back here to keep her safe, and we'll keep the world a better place. And when Leo orbed, though, he was suddenly disoriented and scattered. He's like, this doesn't feel right. What is happening to me? And then he blacked out. So, okay.
Poor Leo.
Craziness. Poor Leo. So now Piper 1 was having thoughts of Leo becoming a victim of the Darklighter. She was just having like this feeling, which,
Listen, I honestly think that was like a feeling, like an intuition thing for her.
Definitely.
Like that part was just like, it gave me a little bit of chills. I was like, girl,
mm-hmm.
They're connected.
It's like, yeah, because when this person you love is in trouble, you can feel it. And it's kind of like, like in I Dream of Phoebe when the Charmed Ones were wished dead and Leo healed Piper while he was asleep. He's like, he just knew.
Right.
Such a beautiful thing. So, but she's having thoughts. She's like, Leo with a Darklighter. Oh, I don't know. So she calls Piper 2, and she just wants somebody to give her some hope and give her some good feelings. And she gets her voicemail. So she's like, okay. So Piper 1 begins to feel really kind of hollow and alone. She's like, something's wrong. I can't get caught up with anybody. Nobody's here. Oh, I felt so bad.
Yeah. Which I was like, okay, I know that like obviously nobody knows Piper better than Piper, right? So she calls for Piper 2, but I'm like, girl, go talk to one of your sisters. Like, obviously it's concerning to you. Go talk to somebody else.
I know.
But
they should be around somewhere. Like, why are you hiding in your room?
Right? Go into chapter 7. So Piper is dreaming of snuggling blissfully in bed with Leo. And one after the other, other Pipers, come into the room with some pancakes, a trophy for the businesswoman of the year, money from success at the club. Piper is just so happy about how good her life is. She then rolls over and her arm hits like an empty space in the bed. And she's like, okay, well, has Leo not been here?
Yeah, he's not back yet.
What? He normally comes in. If he's got to be out for a long time, he'll at least come in and go to sleep. So then Piper calls for Leo again, but a Darklighter answers her. He appears in her bedroom, which is very concerning to me. Also, how does the Darklighter know?
Know what?
Know that like she's calling for Leo. Did he appear because she's calling for Leo, or did he just appear in that moment?
I think that might have just been a coincidence.
Okay, because I was like, what is he doing? Like, staking the house? So then Piper yells for her sisters. And the Darklighter says he's Shrev. And that his master, Malagon. Okay, yeah. Malagon. Good Lord. Malagon has Leo. He will give them 48 hours to decide to either give up their powers or Leo is going to die. And so the girls start searching for Piper 2.
Yeah.
So they go downstairs and Piper 2 enters the manor looking like a hot mess. And she's, walking in. She's definitely had a night. Piper
Walk
1,
of shame.
yeah, walk of shame. Definitely that kind of vibe. Piper 1 is mad and frustrated that she was at Bubble because that's their
Her
competition.
competitor.
Yeah. And she's also mad that Piper 2 was out all night. Like, this isn't Piper's normal behavior. And they then tell Piper 2 about Leo. And they go upstairs and find Malagon.
You get to read the Book of Shadows entry, so
okay.
Have fun.
All right. There's a lot of Malagons in there. The definition in the book for the Darklighter Malagon. In the late 19th century, the Darklighter Malagon registered his 100th White Lighter kill and was exalted by the demon realm for his service to black magic. The source rewarded Malagon by ascending him to demon status, but soon regretted this move when Malagon made a play for the source's throne. Malagon was then banished to a middling realm for his crimes against the source. For the last century, his Darklighter brethren have attempted to break him free from his purgatory, but have yet to find the key.
Yeah, so
which
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would love to see what the page would look like in the book, like what that entry would look like.
The Darklighter, it kind of had like a Zanku kind of parallel there, He's banished because the source seemed to banish a lot of people that made him mad.
I mean, there was also what was the tall man or the thin man.
Tall man, yeah, whichever one I think they call him the tall man, but it was the thin man at one point, and he banished the vampires. Like he banished a lot of people. He
was just not happy. He was like, "Get away from me! It's my throne."
Yeah. So but I think and Malagon has his little followers too, like Zanku did. So I think it's kind of fun.
We should totally, like, after you get done with these books, we need to just start making the pages for these books. Not to, I don't know if I would ever add them to my book.
Yeah.
Personally, but it'd be cool to just kind of do a version just to see what it would look like.
I've seen a few of them actually made. That somebody did.
Oh, really?
I posted one when we did Something Wiccan This Way Comes. Someone made like an Anubai demon page, and I posted that on the Instagram.
I need to go back. I probably saw it, but it's been a minute. Yeah. I'll have to go back and look.
And I have seen while I'm researching these books, I have seen a few other like entries that were made like digitally as someone. So someone has been doing that.
Hey,
which is kind of cool.
That's cool. Well, hey, if you are listening to this podcast, please share with us if you have made your own versions, because I would love to see them.
Yeah.
So then, after they read this entry for Malagon, Phoebe, Paige, and the two Pipers perform a spell to reverse the wish spell. And Paige has kind of figured out how to do a ritual that should, reverse everything. It's supposed to be really powerful. And they want to make Piper whole again. And it failed. Again. Mm-hmm. So the two Pipers begin to fight. And Piper 2 left. She was done. And she figures that she can go look after the club while everybody else goes after, figuring out how to help Leo. So Phoebe, Paige, and Piper 1 were appalled and baffled. They were like, does she not even care?
Care about Leo? Like,
right. That
weird.
Bitch.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Truly.
And they were like, obviously, something's going on here because she doesn't even care to stay to look for Leo. And Piper 1 suddenly gets dizzy, and Piper 2 is taking a shower and also gets really dizzy in her shower. And that's kind of where we leave off for chapter 7.
So then we go to chapter 8. This is a shorter chapter. Paige goes to her room and she's like, I have to do something. So she sits in her room alone and she meditates and she just tries to tap into her white lighter powers and sense Leo. And she focuses very hard, and she does. She soon senses Leo. She's like, oh, I know where he is. Oh.
I did it.
I did it. Paige immediately runs to her sisters with the good news. She's like, I know where Leo is. We can orbit him right now. Let's do it. And like, oh, wait a little. Let's think this through. Maybe we should have a plan before we go orbiting into, a lair of demons.
So, you don't even have a way to vanquish him yet. Calm down.
Yeah. But it's cool. I'm glad you have that. Put that in your back pocket because we'll have to go there later.
Great enthusiasm. Let's hold back.
Yes. So then they go back to the Malagon page in the Book of Shadows, and they see that he can be vanquished with a spell and a potion. So he's the upper level demon, so he needs 2 things. But then the potion has to cool for 6 hours.
Which I was trying to think really hard to see if I could remember anything in the Charmed universe that had to even sit there and, meditate for that long. Like, I know that when they did the coal power stripping potion,
right. I had to sit for a little bit.
Yeah, it had to just cool down, right?
Yeah.
It didn't take 6 hours.
No. Maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes, more reasonable. 6 hours, that was a crazy amount of time. And that was insane. I really feel like they wrote this in because the demon gave them 48 hours in order to figure this stuff out, that they had to put in advanced timing so that way they could fulfill those 48 hours.
Yeah, it's like, what are we gonna do in the meantime? But they could have just said he could have gave them 2 hours and then made it more reasonable. But yeah. So 6 hours for this potion. So Piper was not happy. She's like, "Are you kidding me?
What the hell?"
It's like, here, you're all set to go. Now we really can't go. So it cuts to Leo now, and he is in a cell that the Darklighters have him in. And in the cell, he can't orbit all. His orbiting magic is disabled. And he was visited by Malagon. He comes to the cell. He's like, oh. He taunts Leo. He's like, either the sisters are going to give up the powers, or we will take them. Either way, it will be great fun.
He definitely kind of reminded me of a Lucius Malfoy kind of character.
Because they described him as this long blonde hair, kind of big and bulky, and
maybe a Lucius mixed with have you seen
Fabio?
Maybe. But he's supposed to be really dirty, okay.
Oh yeah, dirty.
Really, messy. He's got a lot of dirt and grunge and blood on him. So maybe he's a Lucius mixed with The Witcher. Do you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I know him. Yeah, I can see that.
All right. So chapter 9. So Piper 2 is at P3 watching the models rehearse. And one of Ronaldo's employees, Marcia, tries to persuade Piper to model.
And she asked her earlier, but now she's like, are you sure you don't want to do it?
And she had asked Piper 1 originally. And, obviously Piper 2 doesn't remember because she wasn't there. And Piper 2's really gung-ho about it. She's like, yeah. Modeling me? What? I do it. Why not? So Marcia tells Piper that they compromised so they could temporarily disassemble the VIP area in exchange for adding her to the lineup. A few moments later, Piper goes up on the catwalk and she fights through her inhibitions and she makes it work. And it's just Tim gunning it all the way. Then Piper, while she gets off the stage and there's construction happening because apparently they're temporarily taking walls down and doing floors and stuff.
This wasn't the show; it was a rehearsal.
Yeah,
so she was testing it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then Piper is getting off the stage, and she notices that a board is about to be dropped from backstage, and so she freezes time in order to stop either somebody getting hurt or trying to help out in that situation. But it wore off really quickly and she didn't unfreeze it, and then Piper gets dizzy again and she's like, oh, okay, that was weird. Piper 1, it cuts to Piper 1. She is at the manor and the painters are still painting. The painter, as he's walking back, he accidentally knocks into the ladder that had paint on top of it. And the paint kind of goes down, kind of like it did when Prue went to Buckland's for her interview. Yeah,
Yeah.
Freezing it. No, just moving it. And Piper freezes time. She then moves a garbage can to catch it, but the freeze wore off while she was like mid trying to walk back into her position, and she didn't unfreeze time. She's like, this is weird.
She caught it, luckily.
Yeah, luckily it didn't damage the manor, because that would be horrible.
Put that in the trash can like your cereal box you knocked over, and the truth is out there in a hearse.
Yes, I love the comparisons.
Yeah.
There's so many tie-ins we could do. Mm-hmm. So then it cuts to Phoebe and Paige taking Piper into another room because she gets really dizzy. And as they're in this, I think that they're in like the living room. I guess that's what, because it would be the living room and the sitting room and then the solarium. So I think that they're in the living room because they have to stay out of the way where the painting crew can see what's going to happen next. So a female demon shows up and attacks them in the living room. And Piper is trying to blow her up, but all she's doing is like wounding her a little bit.
It's like, ow.
Yeah.
Ow. Ow.
Not really doing anything.
That tickles.
It's bubbles. And so Phoebe then has to take charge, and she stabs her with the demon's own athame and kills her. And then Piper blacks out, and Phoebe and Paige are standing over her worrying, and Paige plans to start on the potion for Malagon. We should have done this 2 hours ago, guys.
All right, chapter 10. So Ronaldo is having like a spoiled freak out moment at the club. He's like, "You guys aren't doing this right. You aren't modeling my clothes right. This is not what I wanted her to wear." And he freaks out and leaves. Pepper too is like, all right, somebody is having a mood. And then she flees off to lunch with Douglas. Douglas is like, "You want to go somewhere? Let's go somewhere. Jump off the face of the." So Phoebe tries to call Pepper 2, but Pepper 2 ignores the call, and none of the sisters can understand why she isn't more concerned for Leo than she is. Like, why is she just doing this? It bothers me. I'm so bothered.
Yeah.
Phoebe, Paige, and Pepper 1 go off to get Leo on their own without Pepper 2. They have their potion. The potion is ready now, so it's 6 hours later. But Phoebe and Paige wonder if Piper 1 is strong and healthy enough because, she's been having dizzy fits. She's been blacking out. She's like, "Are you sure you can go?" She's like, "Yeah, we have to go get Leo. I don't care."
I'm determined.
Yes. And the sisters arrive. They orb into a cave. And Malagon there's like a group of Darklighters, and then Malagon appears out of the Darklighters. It's like, "Well, hello." It's like, "It seems you are here early."
Yeah, and the thing that I thought was really interesting in that area was that they noticed that, all of the Darklighters have not only crossbows, but swords and maces. And Paige was like, she instinctively steps behind Phoebe because she knows that every one of those weapons was soaked in a special potion designed specifically to kill her, which I thought was really interesting because we never see a Darklighter without an arrow, a bow and arrow.
Right.
So I guess they have other weapons just dipped in poison.
So maybe the arrow is like the field work when you go out and you're like, you're on a mission. Like, this is my quick access. Whereas like if you go to their lair, it's like, we dip all our weapons in this. Nunchucks,
Imagine nunchucks just soaked in that. If I tap you, you're dead.
Darklighter Ninja Turtles. That's what we got.
Yes. Waiting for the throwing stars,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a typical demon thing, right? I mean,
really
or at least in that one episode it was.
Yeah, it's the Shurikens or whatever they call it. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. The Demonatrix.
Yes.
Anyway, so Malagon appears like, "Oh, you're here early. I love people who can come early." And like we're ready to, like, I admire that, So they throw the potion at Malagon, and then a wall of fire surrounds him. He's like, "Oh, why didn't I expect this?" And the sisters recite the vanquishing spell, but it fails. And then Malagon's like, "Oh, well, I'm not dead yet. Let me see if I can get out of here." So like, oh, the fire is falling away. I broke free. Ha ha ha! Laugh in your face. You suck. So Malagon is free, and then the Darklighters attack them. They're like, "Oh crap! Oh shit! Okay, what are we gonna do?" So they have a little bit of a battle moment where they're like they're scrambling around. And Malagon's like, "I'll let you go. I'll forgive this little mishap because I still need your powers." And he's like, "You have 12 hours left."
Which is enough time for them to make 2 more batches of this stupid potion.
I know.
When I read that, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, this author is just giving them so much time to make more potion.
Right. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll be forgiving." Like, really? I don't... you would have killed them right there. Yeah. Because if you can kill them and steal their powers, too. Like, come on now.
Yeah. Crazy.
But it's like, "You have 12 hours." And then they orb away. So, yeah, that's the end of that chapter.
So then, because Paige orbs them out, she protects them. So it cuts to Piper 1, them orbing back to the manor, and Piper 1 is freaking out, and she's crying, and she's mad that they left Leo there. And I felt so bad for Paige in this moment, because she felt so guilty. And she was like, what else was I supposed to do? Like, they were going to kill us, you know?
Yeah.
And Piper is like, they weren't going to kill us. They still need us. Like, okay. Then there's a part in this where, you know, Piper's really upset, and it says that, you know, Piper is sobbing, and she said that Piper didn't really cry unless, you know, it was somebody lost, and like one of her loved ones lost. And I felt like that really spoke to her character as far as like her holding back and trying to be like the older sister and being tough. It made me so sad that she was going through all this stuff with Leo and she couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Douglas, who is the guy that Piper 2 keeps running off with, coming into the front door with Piper 2, who was weak after collapsing at Douglas's apartment. Why are you at this apartment is my question.
Like, did he roofie you? Like,
yeah. So then Douglas sees Piper 1, and they convince him that they are twins. Phoebe calls Piper 1 Pia, and the other one is going to be Piper, right? I was like, out of all the names, Pia, okay. And Piper 1's like, if anything's, she's Pia. Not me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that moment. It made me laugh.
She's like, this little heifer keeps going off. She doesn't care about Leo. She's obviously not a Piper.
Right. She's Pia. You're a Pia.
So then, you know, Phoebe and Paige are trying to get Douglas to leave. And Piper 2 kisses Douglas before they send him off. I was like, who is this bitch?
Like, what? Like, what? What? Really?
Oh, it made me so mad. I was like, if I was there, I would have slapped the shit out of you. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
Made me so mad. So then the 2 Pipers are fighting, obviously, because this bitch just kissed another dude and she's married. Phoebe is forced to mediate, and they focus on sorting things out once and for all. So then it cuts to Leo, and he is still in his cell. And when the girls were fighting back in Malagon's cave area, like a fireball or something like that hit him and it broke his arm, which I thought was interesting because we've never seen Leo with a broken limb. So,
I have a note about that at the end. So
okay. Yeah. And he's like, oh, man, I wish I could heal myself. Too bad I can't. And then he's really hoping that the sisters don't come back and try to save him, because he's like, the world can live without a Leo. They'll just get another white lighter. They can't live without the charmed ones. Literally broke my heart. I was like,
I know.
This sweet man.
I know.
Can't. It made me emotional for Leo. I was like, I can't live without Leo. Let's be real. All right. And then it jumps back to the sisters, who are looking through the book, and they find nothing in order to like resolve this 2 Piper situation. So it's Paige and Phoebe up there because the two Pipers are still downstairs being all sickly. And Paige trips and rips her skirt in two and has this epiphany. She's like, Piper didn't duplicate herself. She split herself into two. It wasn't like, what happened with Prue. It is literally taking the one person and just ripping her apart into essentially like two personalities, right? Or two people. And so they go downstairs and they come up with the idea that Piper 1 got, some of Piper traits while the other got some more. Different traits, obviously.
Yeah.
You can tell just by the behaviors. And Phoebe thinks that maybe they could rewrite the Call a Lost Witch spell to reunite Piper as one.
So chapter 12, the two Pipers are fighting again. And Phoebe thinks they should just bring both Pipers with them to vanquish Malagon. She's like, one wasn't enough, but if you two of you work together, you'll be one Piper technically together, and you can do it. And they don't have time to rewrite the spell at the moment. She's like, if we just go, we just get it. We'll grab more potion, and we'll go. But Piper 2's like, no. And she's like, I'm tired of this. I'm mad at you guys. And I'm like, bitch!
I literally hated Piper 2 throughout this.
What is your problem?
She got the worst qualities.
Well, I'm going to talk about that too. So I have so many thoughts about this. So Piper 2 leaves, and she arrives at Douglas's apartment. She goes back to Douglas's apartment.
That whore.
She's flirting with him.
Oh, it made me so mad.
Like, I'll have one drink. Oh, yes, come sit on the couch with me. And he's like, and Douglas goes like, yeah, I'll offer you one more drink before you die. And she's like, what? Me? What? So Douglas admits that he's a warlock, and he comes after 2 with an ice pick.
Oh, yeah. His face, like, morphs. Yeah. Kind of like a Jeremy. It said that, he was, like, wrinkly. It was really creepy. Because it was like, it said he had his face contorted, springing 1,000 nasty wrinkles and boils, and his eyes had gone black. That's disturbing.
He lays out his whole story, too. He's like, I didn't know you were a witch before, but then I walked in on your freeze earlier at the club, and then I realized you were a charmed one after I visited the manor. I'm like, oh, okay. I saw the sisters. I'm like, oh, so now you're not just a witch, you're a charmed one. Now I really need to kill you. So, and Piper 2 was like, she was still, half a Piper, so she's still pretty weak, and she realized that she won't be able to fight him off. So she's like, oh, this is it. This is where I die. Okay.
Which to me, okay, I have a very big question about this, because he literally took her back to the manor after she fainted at his apartment.
It doesn't make any sense. I know. No. Why would you take her back if you could have just killed her? If you knew she was a witch then, you could have killed her then. But you wanted to find out more information? What? I don't know. Did you? Maybe,
it was weird.
Maybe he had like inkling that she was a charmed one. He wanted to know for sure. I don't know.
Yep, there's a plot hole there. Didn't like it.
So Douglas is attacking her. She tries to freeze him. He wears off right away, fighting through the freezes. But then she's like, "Okay, here it comes." And then Douglas is like, "Ah!" He's like attacked in pain. She's like, "What is happening? Must be maybe my sisters are here to save me." Oh, and then she looks up, and it was a Darklighter. And he's like, Piper belongs to the master. Get away from her. It's like, so the Darklighter kills Douglas. I'm like, ooh, eat baddie after baddie. Yes.
Yeah. Eliminated.
Witch wars over here.
Yes.
So that was kind of fun for me. I did enjoy that moment. So the Darklighter kills Douglas and then grabs Piper too as she tries to escape. He's like, you're coming with me. I got you.
And he grabs her by the hair. I was like, how rude. God.
This is not wrestling.
No, she didn't have a bald spot by the time she's done with this. It's okay. She deserves it after all the shit she's been doing.
Yeah, Piper 2, you need a reality check. You need to be put in your place a little bit. So then you cut to the manor, and the other sisters are kind of taken by the other Darklighters too. They're making a plan, but then they get taken by Darklighters as well. So they're like, it's just time. Okay, final chapter.
All right. Also, I did want to note that Douglas's last name is Brittany.
Oh.
Except it's spelled differently than mine. It has 2 T's. I only have one. But I did see that and I was like, oh, look. It was meant to be. I'm in here.
Yeah, love it.
All right. So chapter 13. So we then go back to Malagon's lair type thing, which it's not in the underworld.
No.
I don't know if we noted that yet or not.
No, we didn't.
But it's not in the underworld. So that's why Paige was able to sense Leo and they could find him.
It's somewhere on this plane, somewhere on this. Yeah.
So they go back into Malagon's lair, being forced there by the Darklighters. So it's Paige, Phoebe, and Piper 1. And they appear before Malagon and he starts asking them if they have the spell that will relinquish their powers. We expect them to just show up. And they're like, yep, let's do this. Which I guess Leo's on the line, so I'm sure they would. And he produces a velvet box to contain the powers, which very much reminded me of the lantern from Rex.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so many tie-ins. Love it. And then Piper was about to get ready to say the spell when another Darklighter appears with Piper 2. And he's like, what? So Leo and Malagon and the other Darklighters were all like, what is going on? There's 2 of them?
Yeah.
And the sisters then try to escape and go into battle. And the Pipers are trying to fight to get to each other because they're so ready to be one person at this point.
Uh-huh.
And so they hold hands in front of Leo's cell and they wish to be one again.
Twitches.
And Piper is now rejuvenated. She is now one. She feels all the power that she needs. She's invincible. And she freezes the room. And she unfreezes Leo because during this entire commotion, one of the Darklighters opens his cage, which to me made no sense.
Yeah, it's like, get out of here. Come with me. We're going to take you somewhere else.
We're going to kill you right now. I don't know what they were trying to do. So when she freezes the room, the Darklighter still has a hold of Leo, and they're kind of halfway out of this cage. She unfreezes Leo, and they're reunited, and it was so cute because he pulled her in with his good arm and wrapped her in a passionate kiss. And I thought that was so sweet because I don't remember, obviously Piper and Leo kiss, right? But there's not a whole lot of those moments where you're just like, oh, especially in the later seasons. Yeah. So I just thought that was sweet. And then they start, they throw the potion at Malagon, and so he unfreezes. And then they say the spell, and he's vanquished. But the rest of the Darklighters are still frozen. We have to note that because they just orb home.
Yeah. Ta-da!
Which to me was just did you really not expect them to come after you?
I know.
I didn't understand that part. A week later, they cut to P3, and Piper won the Businesswoman of the Year award. Go Piper!
Congratulations! Round of applause.
Jinx. And so they're congratulating Piper, and the fashion show is about to begin. So they're kind of admiring everything. They said that Piper too did an amazing job setting this up. That's what Paige said. Piper's like, hey, I did a fabulous job. She is me.
Right.
And it goes into the fact that obviously she was split into 2, but when she came as one, she remembers both of those perspectives. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was funny because she was like, I even remember talking to myself on the phone, but I try not to think about it because it makes my brain hurt.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny. So then, they're sitting in the audience and Piper says, it was good to be loose for a little while. I should do it more often. And Leo goes, but not too much, right? Because he's still a little tense after having heard that Piper was kissing all over another guy.
Yeah.
But he did accept her, temporary insanity plea is how they phrase it.
Yeah.
And she said, thank goodness she had the sense to marry a supernatural being. So, I mean, at least he was understanding.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're sitting in the audience, and then all of a sudden she says, I have something that I need to do. And so she goes up and she struts herself into the show, and she's like walking around. She struck a pose and was, flaunting all her goodies. And I thought that was so cute because, at the beginning of like her, I guess, proposition to model, she was talking about the fact that, during their childhood that Prue and Phoebe used to put on fashion shows together with their mom's clothes up in the attic.
Too, yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that you're probably going to get into this, but the clothes were in the attic. Keynote in the attic, which they should not have been able to go into, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, but she reminisces about that, and she's like, oh, I've done this before. And so she has the confidence to like go out there and just strut her stuff. And then they had a successful Star Kids event that they had, made Piper made muffins for, and Phoebe did those charms for. So she was feeling great. And at the end, she says, it's good to be Piper Halliwell. Isn't that just so cute?
So sweet. So sweet. It was a cute ending. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the end of the book. What are your overall thoughts, your final thoughts? Anything that, what'd you like and dislike her?
Okay. Well, I really liked, the whole storyline of, being so stressed out that you feel like you need two of yourself, because I think that we can all relate to that. Yeah. I will say that at the end of the day, obviously that didn't work out too well. I was not happy about how these personalities split, because to me, by the end of these personalities, it didn't feel like a Piper, it did. I know that like maybe earlier on seasons, Piper didn't have as much stress and responsibility, but she was still, even without being married, even without being the oldest sister, without having a club to run, although she did run Quake, she still was never that willy-nilly kind of Phoebe-esque, Paige-esque type where she just let loose, which I think that, to some degrees, that's fine. But she was out there hoeing it up, and she was married. Leo just didn't matter to her anymore. And I was like, there's no way that should ever be written into a Piper.
Yeah.
That made me mad. But other than that, I thought it was a really good story. It was very entertaining.
Cool. This book had some nice moments. I particularly like, the scenes. It was definitely a lighter story. And so it was a lot of fun. A little bit blander than most of them because it wasn't as high stakes. But sometimes a lighter story is nice, though. You can get a lot of comedic stuff going on there, too. So,
but Leo was on the line. To me, that is high stakes.
That's true. Leo was on the line. Yeah. And I did appreciate a lot of the show references.
Especially Prue.
Yes. Which Prue, anyway, was so much more effective comedically and powerful thematically. And I have this too. I said, I'm sorry, but Piper 2 had none of Piper's traits.
Right?
And it's not like Piper to want to model or go on kissing sprees or party. Because I'm like, I don't believe for a second. Because I feel like they're trying to make Piper 2 kind of like her inner desire, when a Astral Prue was, or the blue sort of Prue was in her inner desires. So when Prue split, all of them felt like they were a distinct part of her personality, that actually made sense to the audience. We could recognize each of these in her. Piper 2 felt like she forgot entirely who Piper was, what made Piper Piper. It's almost like they're taking Prue's traits and putting them onto Piper.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Or even just Phoebe. Know, think about season 1, season 2 Phoebe, her just freeing it up out there. She didn't care. She had no responsibilities. I mean, they tried to make second Piper into a non-caring, just free wild child.
Right. So I'm thinking if we actually got Piper's inner desire, she probably would have been highly territorial and demanding. And she probably would show a bit more skin, but not. She wouldn't go crazy. I think she would probably show a bit more skin. She probably like force feed you her cooking, or she like decide to leave on vacation on a whim, like that type of thing. That would be more of what Piper would do. This book reiterates why I hate the elders so much. Because
I could see that.
they are so out of touch and pretentious. They're like monopolizing Leo's time, and they're downplaying his emotions. They don't care for anything that he's feeling. And then like, and they block Charge's calls. I'm like, these elders are assholes. But I'm like, kudos to this book for getting it right, because that's what they were.
Yeah. And it did mention that they constantly give him crap about him, being the rule breaker and marrying Piper.
Yeah.
And I'm like, y'all need to get over your issues. Like, you already allowed him to do it, even though I don't think that should be something that you should or shouldn't allow.
Yeah.
But y'all just need to get over it. Like, it's already done happened. They've been married for a hot minute. Leave him alone. Leave Leo alone.
Leave him alone. I laughed out loud because Leo has a white letter friend named Barnabas.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's funny. He sounds like a hobbit.
He could be. Who knows? Maybe one of the hobbits became a white letter after,
maybe. But I did appreciate it. I'm like, that's funny. That's a fun name. They mentioned that they used to do fashion shows in the attic with their mother's clothes after she died, which in theory, I do like the idea. I think it's really cute. But the fact that they were in the attic does not make sense. If they should have found him like in a bedroom or something.
Or in the basement.
Yeah.
Although Phoebe wouldn't have gone down there.
Yeah.
But they couldn't get in the attic either. That's just, to me, it doesn't line up. Like, I like the sentiment. I love being able to show the girls in their past, like pre us knowing them. I love that. I love the sentiments towards their childhood and their mother. It doesn't fit with already what has happened in the lore,
Yeah. So put that in my canonical hat.
Canonical.
Is there anything that isn't canon?
We've had a lot of references. I'm trying to think if there's any that I had that I didn't mention.
Besides that one, yeah.
I mean, we did throw it back to when Prue multiplied herself, which was awesome. Any throwbacks, and I will say this again, because I feel like I said this in the other book that I was on.
Yeah.
Any throwbacks that they tie into Prue, I love, because we don't see that happen as much in the actual show.
Right.
So any kind of reminiscence of her, even just saying her name, makes me so happy, because I really feel like in the actual show, they definitely kind of like skirted over Prue for a long time. Like, it was a long time after her death before she was ever mentioned again.
And I think the argument could be made that they're trying to like not dwell on it or like try to like make it all about Prue. But the thing is, like, I feel like she would come up in everyday life. You would think about those times. You would have the picture on the stand. Like, I get it. But why would you just throw away the picture? I just don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I know that like for practical reasons, obviously they couldn't have it in the show.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we wanted to be realistic, pay Shannon $10,000 so we can see her face, especially at the end. That just, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, any time that we throw it back to Prue, I love. So any of those mentions, and I did the atypical page.
You did the color coding. I love that.
Of the book. That's really how I read these books. I just go through and note anything that sticks out to me. But anytime Prue was mentioned, I flagged it, because that to me was special. I feel like this book possibly could be canon. I feel like maybe there's some adjustments we need to make, particularly like we talked about Piper 2's personality, number one. I do feel like some of the aspects of the book could fit with the lore. Overall, I really liked the story. I don't know if it's necessary to see this as an episode, but I did like like I said at the beginning, that when we saw Leo up with the elders or up there, I liked that, because we don't really see that perspective.
Yeah. There isn't anything in the narrative that is like blaringly like continuity errors. It's nothing that's like that would like prevent it from being canon. So yeah, I do think this book could technically be canon. Would I want it to be an episode? I don't know if I would necessarily want it to be, but I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need it, but if it was there, I think it would be okay because it is fun to see the references. It is fun to see the lightheartedness. And I did enjoy the demon. I think he was kind of fun.
Listen, if they could get Henry Cavill to play
Yeah.
Malagon, I'd 100% watch it. Just saying.
Yeah. So I had a few other references things in my head that I thought about. When Lauren died, the White Letter novice, they said, at least she's in a better place, which reminded me of in Charmageddon, where it's like, oh, at least you're in a better place. So all right. Dan is mentioned in this book.
Yes. Which in the because they were comparing, tearing down the walls of P3 where the VIP lounges, and she goes, "This is where I had chats with Dan and Paige and Phoebe and Prue and Leo. Leo was named last." Yeah. Which I was offended by that, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was
like Dan first.
Yeah, I was like, girl, he went over your husband and your sisters of all the people. Dan. Yeah. Which, do I hate Dan? No. Am I happy that she's not with Dan? Yes.
You mentioned how they talked about how Phoebe was always after Piper's boyfriends and stuff, but they actually got the name right. They said Billy Wilson, which was exactly the same name that was in the Fourth Sister. So I'm like, okay, I thought, I thought for sure they were just like made up another boyfriend, but like, nope, that's the same name. That's Yep.
So that was kudos to the author. I mean, yes, that is a random thing to pick out, but kudos.
Okay, here's the main thing about Leo's healing. So White Letters have the ability to self-heal. They don't have to consciously heal themselves. They just automatically heal. That's just part of their nature. It's just a thing. But we are told that the cell only stops orbiting, so his healing should have still been effect. The only time he can't heal himself is when a Darklighter arrow, is hit with him, or if they're in emotional duress. So I'm like, right. I could argue that this is emotional duress, so I'll forgive it, because in Saving Private Leo, when he lost his charge, he couldn't heal himself. He was wounded then. So there was a throwback to that. So I'm like, okay. But I was like, I just made me think about it. So I'm like, I'll allow this in this book, but I'm just like, they should have made it more clear.
Yeah, and maybe it was the cage as a factor too. Yeah, because I'm sure after he left, Leo didn't walk around with a broken arm. No. It was not mentioned ever again. So he did heal himself some way, somehow.
Yeah. Maybe once he was free, he's like, oh, it healed. Cool. I'm no longer in emotional duress.
I'm good. Piper's okay. We're fine.
I did like that the Relinquished power spell was mentioned because it was throwbacks to Wicca Envy and Brain Drain. And I like that it had to be contained because he actually wanted the powers. Whereas I think the source just wanted them gone. So that's why he didn't need his vessel to contain it. So.
Or maybe he has a special way to contain them that we don't know about.
Maybe. Yeah. He's powerful. Black Orbing was called smoking in this book, so that was a little bit different because it's supposed to be called Black Orbing, but it was called smoking. And then in this book, Paige was the potion specialist, whereas on the show, Piper was the potions master.
Right. Which the way that this is set up, Paige in season 5 becomes more of the head witch, the head bitch in charge. She would become one that would really be the master of, obviously, Piper's still good. She's obviously going to be number one always, but Paige does take over a lot of those duties, but this was prior to that happening in season 5. So it's not a continuity thing. They messed that up.
Yeah. All right. Now we're going to do the spells. Rhyme time.
Should we try a spell?
Why not? Let's try a spell.
In the wind, I sing this rhyme. Bring death before me, before my time.
You've really got to lay off the rhyming, Prue.
Wonderful. Witty, but wordy.
I did the rhyme. I will do the time. Good night.
So the first spell is to make a wish come true. It's a power of 3 spell. A ritual to reverse the spell with a pot on a black cloth in the center of a circle made of candles. Put a lit purple candle in the pot. Each sister holds the hands of the doubles and chants the spell together. By the power of 3, we wish... Hold on. By the power of 3, we wish this wish to be done. No, Kevin! Jesus! Hold on. Third time is the charm. By the power of 3, we wish this wish be done.
Yes.
Which is a very short and simple spell.
Except it's tongue twister. It plays with your mind because it doesn't say what you think it should say.
Right. Didn't like that. That was a tongue tie for me. But it's definitely short, and I don't know if this would make it into the show.
No.
Unless it was just like a quick little quip.
Yeah. I mean, because you can do short spells and stuff like that too, but this is just it's not interesting enough, and it's wishy-washy wordy. So
yeah, they did do other things, like just within, different authors or even just this book that I feel like could make it into the show. This one,
no. All right, and this book only had 2 spells. So the second spell is the Malagon Vanquishing spell, another power of 3 spell, and this required a potion with many ingredients that are required. Once all the herbs are mixed in, the potion needs 6 hours to cool before it could be effective, which
can't get over that.
And then the spell that goes with it is blood to blood, ash to ash, evil spawn from darkness past. By the power of 3, we banish thee. Leave this realm, be gone at last. I like that one, actually.
I think that one could make it into the show, personally.
Yeah, that is pretty clever. I love the rhyme scheme of it, because you have like the 3 end things, but then the middle one, by the power of 3, we banish thee. So you have a little rhyme, like isolated
within
rhyme.
That line, yeah.
Yeah. That's a fun spell. I really appreciate that one. So cool.
I like that one as well. I think that it could work. And I really think that Malagon could be an actual thing for the show. Like, he could be a demon.
Yeah. And it's cool to think of like a Darklighter being like promoted.
Right? I guess in my head I'd never thought, like, I know that there's obviously different tiers of demons, like different levels, but I didn't know that they would just take like a Darklighter and make him into a demon.
Right. You can like cross. Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah.
It's a cool little concept. Yeah.
I kind of wish that the show would have dove deeper into like the backgrounds of demons. Like, how did the seer become the seer? How did the crone become the crone?
Right. And we do learn that some of them are hatched out of eggs, like Drake or a Grimlock. They have eggs. So
creepy.
And we also learn that they recruit mortals that turn them into demons. So there's how many different ways we need to know.
So I wonder if, when the succubus is happening, and she has her eggs.
2 eggs too, yeah.
Are those only other succubi, or are those other different types of demons? I would like to know.
Now we're going into the best baddie rankings.
You can't run! Frozen! In fear!
Best baddie. Our best baddie. I'm not going to include Douglas in this list just because he's not going to make my best baddie list. So I have Malagon as actually number 3 on my list we have 8 right now. He is right under Shax. I have Gortag from the last book as my number 1, then Shax, and then Malagon, because I liked his energy, because he's like this pretty boy giant kind of dirty thing. Yeah. He was confident, but in a quiet way. Because he was actually more patient, definitely more patient than a lot of demons.
48 hours. Yeah. 48 hours patient.
And he was tactical, and I think it's just kind of badass that you get promoted, then you go after your boss who just promoted you. It's like, okay, now I'm going to attack you. Like, I'm going to take over the stores. So, I don't know. I think he's just kind of a cool villain. So, he's higher up on my list.
Oh, yeah. I could definitely see that. And obviously Shax is lore, right? He's in the show.
Right.
So I do feel like with his ranking and the way that they describe this character, even though his presence isn't actually like as common throughout the book, it definitely makes an impact. It makes you remember him, and it makes you kind of like the character, not in like a I want to be his best friend kind of way, but appreciate this demon for what he is.
Yeah,
but also like his background is really cool. I mean, like he's in charge of all of these Darklighters, and we didn't know anything about this in the show.
Yeah, we have a whole new sect of lore here, which is is fun to have. So cool.
I agree with your ranking.
Thank you. I was having a hard time if I was going to have him as number 3 or Sigh and Tremble from Luck Be a Lady, because I really like them a lot too. But I feel like I liked his energy more, Malagon's energy more, so that's why I chose him as 3. Yeah. Okay, so now one of our final things is the Grimoire game.
What is this, some kind of game?
Grimoire games.
Some people think this is entertainment.
And for this game, I'm going to give you the name of an episode.
Okay.
These are instances where there was a clone or an actor acting with themselves. So I'm going to give you the name of an episode, and you have to tell me which character was the clone in the episode.
Okay. Let's do it.
So first one. Thank you for not morphine.
Victor,
yes. Which Prue is it anyway?
Prue, of course.
Ms. Hellfire.
Ms. Hellfire. An actor playing with himself? Oh,
Yeah,
that sounded wrong.
Well, so an actor that was like the same character in the same scene, pretty much. Anytime there's the same actor in the same scene.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let me think about it. Ms. Hellfire.
This is the one where Prue got her first astral projection power. Think about that.
Oh, it's Prue then.
Yeah.
Duh. Okay. See, to me, like when we're like talking about the clones, I guess.
I do think of like a physical clone.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense then. See,
Yeah.
because when she astral projects, I just feel like that's a power.
Right.
So I didn't put the two together.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not counting like spirits. I'm not counting like when their soul comes out of their body, but I am counting that the astral part because technically they're like in the same scene together.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna switch my brain thinking then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Primrose Empath.
Prue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was another
It
astral.
would also be astral. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. But that was the first time where like she was conscious, where she
lifted her head.
Yeah, and she looked at her astral self like
yes,
gives himself the smile. So like, okay, there you go.
Iconic. Yes.
Coyote Piper.
Okay, so it would be Piper because she's like in the mirror.
In the mirror.
But it's also the guy that she first possesses. The guy that she was excited about having a penis.
Walking should be interesting.
Yeah. That one. Okay. Yeah. Is that the 2?
Yeah. Bride and Gloom.
Prue
again. Yeah.
This time it's not an astral Prue.
No, this time it's not an astral. Just Harried.
Prue. And it is an astral Prue.
Yes. She sits on the couch next to her sleeping Prue. I'm like, aw. Like,
yeah. Cute.
Yeah. A Night to Remember.
Paige and the Enchantress.
Yes. The Three Faces of Phoebe.
Phoebe.
No.
Okay. Who would it be? Would it be Cole?
Cole. Yes.
Yes, because the opening scene where he's battling himself. Okay.
You got it. Yes. He's like,
I had to think about that one for a second.
All right. A Witch in Time.
Piper.
Ow! When she pictures herself? Yeah.
I just got that shirt last week.
She's like, look at your arm. It's a bruise. I gave you that. See? Ooh. Now, the importance of being Phoebe.
Phoebe and Kaya.
When she was like shapeshifting into her. So yeah, and the Phoebes fight each other. House Call.
Paige and Jessica.
Yes, it was Paige glamoring herself as Jessica, and then the real Jessica, and yeah, you go. Glenn and his wedding. San Francisco Dreamin'.
Phoebe, because there was the multiple Phoebes that were trying to kill her in the mask.
Yes.
Which to me, I don't understand how that build, of like the way that these people are supposed to look, like they're big and burly, and then it just morphs down into Phoebe's scrawny little body. And I'm like,
it was really funny because you got like Jason after you, and then it's like, hey,
it's me.
I'm beautiful. Cat House.
This
is interesting because it's kind of like the clip show.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Where they're in the same scene. Okay, but do you count that if it's season 1 Phoebe versus season 5?
Yes.
Okay, so Phoebe.
Yes, and Paige too. Some of those because pretty much they're in the scene. They were kind of put into the scene from past episodes, but they are one to themselves because they're acting with themselves in a way.
Gotcha.
It's weird, but I made it work.
Okay.
All right. A Wrong Day's Journey into Right.
Mr. Right and Mr. Wrong, also Vincent.
Yes.
The same dude.
Yes. Okay. It's a bad world.
There's a lot in that.
Actually, it's only really 2, really.
Okay, then Paige and Phoebe.
Paige and Phoebe. Because Leo and Chris never meet their counterparts.
That's true.
And
That's true. Neither does Phoebe.
I guess you can count Gideon, I suppose, because of the mirroring.
Yes, Gideon. And
Barbas, I don't think meets himself either. Barbas doesn't meet his counterpart.
No.
So
and Wyatt doesn't. Although
Yeah.
they exist,
right,
and we see them, they don't face each other.
Right.
But that one's the most iconic, like double one. When they're like
for sure,
all 4 facing each other. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then yes, I agree with that one.
Okay. Cheaper by the Coven.
I'm gonna have to think.
That was the one with the sibling rivalry.
Did we see a duplicate in that
We did.
one? Okay. Oh shit.
There's a showdown in that one a little bit.
I'm gonna have to pass on this one because my brain just went blank.
Okay. Hocus Pocus.
This is Oh, Kevin. Okay.
We're to season 8 now, so season 8's getting harder because it's not as familiar. I know. So these are Hocus Pocus, and this is only in one scene, so it's not like it's a whole plot thing.
I mean, they're like wrestler bodies. Then
yeah, I'm not counting those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then what are we counting? Oh my God, Kevin!
I'm stumping you. I know.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, we can skip it. We'll go to the easy one. This one should be easy. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Vea con Leos.
Leo.
A lot of Leos in that one. A lot of Leos. So yes.
I'm still stuck on on Hocus Pocus. Okay.
We'll go back to it. We have 2 more. Okay. And this one is this is similar to the Cat House one. So think about this. It's similar to the Cat House.
Okay.
Generation Hex.
Okay. On this one, the title and the actual episode is disconnected in my brain right now. So
there's a lot of season 8 episodes that are like that.
Yeah.
This is the one where Coop shows Phoebe her past love.
Oh, then Phoebe. It's gonna be
Yeah.
Split screen. Phoebe is doing all the split screen.
So yeah, I knew that would give it away, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last one was Forever Charmed.
So it'd be Piper sees herself, and they like morph together, and so does Billy.
Correct. Those 2.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So the 2 that I did not get, these are gonna bother the crap out of me.
Okay. So Cheaper by the Coven. That was season 7, episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
That was when Wyatt conjured up a demon that looked just like Leo. and had the electrical together, and then the mask falls off, and it's Leo's
Oh my
face.
God. I totally forgot about this one. Okay. All right. Well, I'm really mad at myself.
And the last one is a Hocus Pocus.
Okay. This one.
It's weird because it's a scene that's totally different. It's in the episode, but it's like totally different from what you think the episode of, and that's probably why it's like not in your brain.
Probably. I'm gonna feel really mad when you tell me to. You've stumped me. This is the one that's
Okay. This is Phoebe. She kind of goes. She has like an astral premonition. So do you remember the premonition she had of herself in the future with the avatars in season 7?
Yeah.
in this episode, she actually travels back into that premonition and talks to her future self as herself, present self.
See, I had that one in my head, but it was for the original premonition.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because that's something. It seems like season 7, but yeah, it's weird because they go back to that season 7 premonition, and
in season 8.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why. See, I remember them doing that, but to me, that doesn't click in my brain. Like, that's not where that scene lies for me. That's
right
in the previous season.
Yeah, it's and I totally get you there. It's a tricky one. Okay, well there you go. But you like were slaying this, so that's fine. I'm not mad.
All the other ones, well, I'm also really familiar with the earlier
seasons. Same. Yeah,
because
the later seasons get harder.
You rewatch them, you start over, and I have seen season 1 so many times that I can't even count. I don't even know.
Yeah. So, and those later seasons, they're a little bit fuzzier in my mind, just because I didn't have as much time with them, really. Okay.
Well, that was a fun game. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. And then the final thing, we have one last thing, is the tips for future White Lighters.
I was out being a force of good in the universe.
So, what is the moral of this story?
That you cannot clone yourself. You have to find a way to deal with everything, and it's okay to be stressed out. You just got to find a balance.
Oh, I love that. Mine is similar, but I didn't go as deep. Spells to duplicate, triplicate, or multiply oneself never work out as planned.
True.
Unless you're like Multiple Man, the X-Men, where it's your power and you can easily like reabsorb your clones. Don't do it. But funny enough, Eric Dane, who played Jason, played Multiple Man in X-Men 3, so there's another Charmed reference.
Hey, you're always good at tying those back in. I don't understand how your brain has the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
I'm really good at faces, but I'm horrible with names.
Yeah.
So, I could recognize an actor and actress from something, and I'm like, oh, he played such and such on Charmed. Could I tell you who it was? No. As far as like the actor's name, no. You're just good at remembering that stuff.
I guess so. Yeah, I have some weird, crazy like memory for. I don't know why. I just do.
It's okay. It is why.
It's my superpower. There you go.
Yeah, that is your superpower, Kevin. The rememberer. I don't know who you would be. We need to come up with a name.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the end. Where can the people follow you?
Well, the most interesting one is going to be on Instagram. I have an account set up just for my collection where I help also other people find things to add to their charm collection. I show off some of the replicas that I make, kind of what I'm working on as well. And it's charmed_collector_1329.
Well, you can follow the podcast at Words of the Witches on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, or Words of Witches on Twitter. I'm everywhere now.
All the things.
Yes. You can follow my personal one, KGZ87, or my other podcast, Hanging with the Hallowells. Well, we will see you in another 2 weeks for the next book, which is The Brewing Storm. We see you guys then. Bye.
See you next time. Bye.
Your destiny still awaits.